I used to think small excuses were harmless. That's what love does to you. It teaches you to overlook little things until those little things become the entire shape of your life. That's exactly how it felt with Jessica. She wasn't dramatic. She wasn't loud. She wasn't cruel. She was just tired. Always tired. Especially when I reached for her hand at night or leaned in to kiss her neck after a long day. The moment I showed the slightest hint of wanting intimacy, her eyelids grew heavy, like someone had flipped a switch. "Babe, I'm exhausted," she'd whisper, rolling onto her side. It happened too often to be random. But because I loved her, I convinced myself it was stress, hormones, work, anything but what it actually was: distance. Quiet, creeping, suffocating distance. We'd been together 3 years, and I'd never been the kind of guy who demanded anything. Love shouldn't have to be demanded in the first place. I thought she knew that. I thought she felt it too. But sometimes, late at night, lying beside her while she drifted off with her back turned to me, it felt like I'd become a lamp she'd switched off when she no longer needed the light. One night, when she mumbled her usual, "I'm really sleepy," I laughed softly and said, "You're always sleepy at the exact same time." She didn't laugh back. She didn't say anything. She just sank deeper into the pillow and let silence answer for her. That was when I first felt a little crack inside me, small but sharp. Still, I said nothing. Because what was the alternative? Start an argument over something I couldn't prove? Accuse her of falling out of love? Demand closeness like it was a transaction? No. I just stayed quiet. Men do that more than they admit. They bleed on the inside. But life has a twisted sense of timing. Because while Jessica was endlessly sleepy when I wanted closeness, she became wide awake when she wanted something from me. Especially money. At first it was little things. A new skincare set, a jacket, concert tickets. She asked gently, smiling, brushing her hand through my hair. And I didn't mind. Felt good to say yes. But slowly the tone changed. The sweetness faded into expectation. "Tyler, can you send me $120? They're having a sale and I don't want to miss it. Tyler, can you cover dinner tonight? I left my card at home. Tyler, can you just transfer me a little? I'll pay you back." She never did. Still, I kept quiet because love makes you hope the good times will return if you just hold on long enough. The turning point came on a Saturday morning when she asked for $350 for some emergency expense. She said it casually, like she was asking me to pass the salt. When I hesitated for the first time in months, she looked offended. "Why are you acting weird?" she asked. "Because you're always asking," I replied softly. She folded her arms. "Couples help each other. You helped before. Why is it suddenly a problem?" I didn't argue. I simply sent the money. She kissed my cheek and went shopping like nothing had happened. But that night, when I reached for her in bed, just a simple touch on her waist, she stiffened immediately. "Tyler, I'm exhausted," she whispered. And that was the moment something inside me finally snapped. Not with anger but with clarity. She wasn't tired. She was uninterested. She wasn't overwhelmed. She was disconnected. And I wasn't her partner anymore. I was her cushion, her wallet, her convenient fallback. I lay awake beside her, staring at the ceiling while she slept peacefully, like someone who had nothing on her conscience. And I realized something I should have realized months ago. Intimacy denied is a loud message. Affection withheld is a quiet rejection. And love without reciprocity is self-destruction dressed up as patience. The next morning, she walked into the kitchen with her hair tied up and said, "Hey, can you send me?" That's when I did something unexpected. I cupped my ear, tilted my head and said calmly, "Sorry, I can't hear you." She blinked. "What?" "I think I've gone deaf," I said. "It must be something new. Happened suddenly." She frowned. "Tyler, stop joking. I'm serious." "So am I," I replied. Completely deaf. Especially when someone asks for cash. Her eyes widened, not in fear but in confusion. For the first time in months, she was the one speechless. Her confusion didn't fade. If anything, it deepened as she watched me pour coffee and sit at the table without acknowledging the irritation simmering in her eyes. Jessica wasn't used to this version of me, the one who didn't rush to soothe her mood or explain myself. "Tyler, seriously," she said, her voice tightening. "What's going on?" I tapped my ear gently. "Sorry, still not hearing anything." She crossed her arms. This isn't funny. I looked up at her, calm as still water. You know what isn't funny? Someone being too sleepy for months but suddenly becoming wide awake when money is in the conversation. That's what isn't funny. Her expression changed, not to guilt but to annoyance. Her face hardened the way someone's does when they realize their usual script won't work. That's ridiculous, she snapped. You're twisting things. Maybe, I said. But it's interesting, isn't it? How quickly your exhaustion disappears when you need something. She blinked, clearly not expecting a direct confrontation. So what? You think I'm using you? I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I simply set my mug down. I think you stopped showing up in this relationship, I said. Emotionally, physically, intimately. But your requests for money never slowed down. Not once. She scoffed, pacing a little. Wow, after everything I've done for you, you're really going to act like I'm some gold digger? What exactly have you done for me lately? I asked softly. She froze. Silence is funny. It reveals the truth more violently than words ever can. You know what? She finally said, grabbing her phone. If that's how you feel, maybe we need space. I nodded. You're right. We do. She narrowed her eyes. I thought you'd fight to fix this. I gave a small, tired smile. I've been fighting alone for months. There's nothing left to fix when only one person cares. The truth landed like a stone between us. She stormed out of the kitchen, muttering something under her breath. But I didn't follow. For once, I let her be the one to walk away while I stayed still. Men always chase. Men always apologize first. But this time I wasn't chasing anything. Not attention, not affection, not validation. A few hours later, she came back with a completely different tone. Soft, sweet, familiar. The version of her I had fallen for. Tyler, she said, almost whispering. Can we talk? I looked up from my laptop. I thought you needed space. She sat down across from me, folding her hands. I know. I don't want to lose what we have. There it was. Not love, not regret, fear of losing access. She leaned forward slightly. I'm sorry if I made you feel neglected. That word, if, told me everything. And I promise I'll try harder, she said, reaching for my hand. Can you just transfer me? I lifted my hand like a stop sign. Still deaf, I said gently. The way her face fell would have broken me months ago, but now it only confirmed the truth I'd been denying. You're unbelievable, she said, pulling back. Maybe, I replied. But at least I'm no longer blind. She didn't say anything for a long moment. She studied me like she was seeing someone new. Someone she didn't recognize. And maybe she was, because I wasn't the man who stayed quiet to keep the peace anymore. I wasn't the man who settled for scraps of affection. I was the man who finally understood that intimacy isn't a chore someone forgets to do. It's a choice someone stops making. What do you want from me? She whispered. Honesty, I said. Effort. The two things I haven't seen in a long time. She swallowed. And if I can't give that? I stood up, grabbed my jacket, and headed toward the door. Then you'll hear silence from me the same way I heard silence from you. Her voice cracked slightly. Tyler. I paused at the doorway. For months I had begged silently for her affection. For months she had pretended exhaustion was a shield. Now she wanted attention, and I had none left to give. I hope, I said quietly, that you find someone whose love you don't sleep through. I walked out, not loudly, not angrily, just finally. And as I stepped into the sunlight, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: peace. It turns out that going deaf wasn't the punishment she thought it was. It was freedom.